Hey, thank you, Macarena, and good morning, everybody. Just let me take on. I will share my screen, and we could start. Okay. uh, Okay, so for today, we are going to be reviewing the Microsoft Dynamics 365 web API. The idea is just, as Macarena mentioned, we are going to be doing some, let me just, uh, just So, Microsoft Dynamics 365 has all the information uh, that probably we are just collecting in our business. So it means that if we are working in a sales process or if we are working in a customer service process, we are going to be collecting a lot of information. But there are some scenarios where we need or we require to have access to that information, not just using the CRM. Probably you're going to be using some other systems that require some interaction with the CRM. So in that scenarios, you need to use the API. So basically, CRM has a web service layer that is going to have all the information that you require, and you could start doing some use of that API. And I think that's pretty simple. There are some operations that probably are going to have some difficulty, but in general terms, the interaction is going to be pretty simple. So for today, we are going to be reviewing some general concepts. We are going to be reviewing some query operations that are probably the simple ones. And then we are going to be just reviewing a little bit about how to create and update information in CRM using the API. And then I'm going to show you the basically the official documentation because there are a lot of things that you could do using the API. And 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 the idea of this webinar is just to have like an overview of the operations. Uh, and probably, for example, you could just create a lead or query a lead or create a contact or query a contact. But if you want to do something more complex, like probably qualify a lead or execute a specific operation, is something that you could do using the API. But probably you need to customize something additionally in the CRM. What I mean is that probably you need to create an action in the CRM that is going to be called in a custom activity. And as soon as you create the action, that action is going to be exposed automatically in the API. Okay, that's something that probably we are going to be reviewing later. Okay, so the general concepts. Basically, uh, the web API is a slightly more technical option, but it's a web service layer that is going to allow you to do the traditional operations like creation, update, like query, like associate, and it's going to be allow you to delete information, modify any status or change any information on the records. And you could do it massively. It means that if you want to modify multiple records, you could do it. If you want to just do a query and just have some specific filter or just have the top 10 or something like that, it's something that you could do. The web API is a pretty powerful functionality in terms of the standard operations like creation, update, and some others. But if you want to do something more specific or more detailed, probably you need to customize that. It means that you need to create a workflow of the action type, and after that, just create a custom activity that is going to be doing or performing the operation that you require. Okay, but in general terms, and in most of the cases, the functionality that is required is going to be like creation, update, or query. That's the basic one. Something important that you have to keep in mind is the capacity of requests that the CRM is going to be receiving. And it's something that is not only in the API, it's in general in CRM works like that. So the CRM has a capacity of requests that could receive simultaneously. So if you pass that capacity, the CRM is going to start queuing the requested, and probably there are some of those requests that are going to take longer. But in general terms, you could send like 1,000 of requests to the CRM, and the CRM is going to be just doing the requests in terms of the capacity of the operation and in terms of the time that is going to take everyone. Okay, so how to start? The first thing that you need to do is identify your API URL. So that basically is you need to identify your instance web API address or URL or link. Yeah, basically URL. So how to do it? The first thing is that you need to go to Start, go to Settings and Customization, and navigate to the developer resources. And basically, you need to take the service root URL. That's the way to do it. Probably if you are not so familiar with this navigation, I'm going to show you how to do it. Basically, you could come here to the CRM and you could click here and click on Advanced Settings. And after that, in Advanced Settings, you could go here to Customizations. Then you will find a menu called Developer Resources. And after that, you are going to find the URL there. Well, it's taking a moment. Let me try to do it again. Okay, this was taking more than a moment. But, yes. So developer resources, and after that you will find a group of URLs there. So the one that you're going to be taking is going to be the web API. Is there, there's, I mean, there are all some others URLs that there like the SOO and some others. So the one that we are going to be using is going to be the web API. That is going to be the easy one to use. And additionally, is going to be a web service that you could just use it using a REST request. Okay. So I don't know why it's taking so long, but basically it's going to have a section like this where you could take the URL, and after that, with that URL, you could start doing your operations. So the first operations that we are going to be reviewing are going to be the query operations. So those are some examples that you could use. Like for example, this is my API URL. Okay. And what I'm saying here is that I want to get my contacts, and the field that I'm just taking is going to be the full name. Okay, so I'm just taking the full name here. And as you can see here, I can get the information. My suggestion probably is going to, if you want to do this testing, try to do it using probably Firefox because it's going to show you the information in a different way. So give me a second and I will show you that in Firefox as well. Because in Chrome is going to appear like this. Probably there is a way to make it appears in a better way, but by default Chrome is going to show the information like this. So I don't like that so much. But if you pass to Firefox, at least to do the testing, just for the testing purpose. Let me show you how it appears in Firefox. So you could take this and open this one in Firefox. And it's going to be like this. So it's going to be more familiar. So as you can see here, you will see the full name and the contact ID for each record. So that's a way to do a query directly to the CRM, and that's a web service. So you could use it for another system or just using your browser. So it's pretty useful. If you want to include some additional fields, you could do it. Like for example, in this exercise, I am querying my leads, and I am just getting the full name and the subject. That is an additional field. So if you require any additional field, you could just comma and just put all the fields. Something that you have to keep in mind is that the name of the field that you are going to be using is going to be the logical one. I mean, in the form, probably it's not going to appear full name. It's going to be like lead name or something like that, but the name of the field that you require to include here is going to be the logical name. So you need to know what's the structure of the CRM if you want to define what are the fields that you want to include here. Additionally, you could define a top, like for example, this top three. So let me show you that. So if I pass to this one, and let's do it in Firefox, like for example, this one. So I'm just getting my full name, my subject in my lead, and I am getting just the top three because that's the instruction that I am just providing. So that's something useful as well. Additionally, you could do like for example, you could do specific filters. So for example, if you want to filter using the status, you need to know the status code. Like for example, in this case, I am using the status code equal to one. Okay, because there is some other things that are going to appear in here as soon as you create the URL. But basically, what I'm saying here is that I require all the leads using this specific filter. So it's something that you need to know how to do it. So, but it's pretty simple. Additionally, you could do additional things like extend a little bit in terms of the field. So, for example, if you want to see the leads that that are in a specific with a specific condition, like for example, in the full name contains a specific letter or something like that. So you could do it. I mean, you could have it. Let's execute this one, for example. So what is appearing here is that I'm just requesting all the leads that contain the letter A. And additionally, I include an instruction just to know the number of records, like the count. So as you can see here, I identified 25 records, and here you could see all the information that query is just getting. Okay, so you could do many different things here, and this one is going to be like a JSON structure. So if you are just querying from a different system, you just need to do like a REST request, and after that, as soon as you receive the information, you could just use the JSON file, the JSON structure, and do whatever you need. Okay, and the last one that is another example and that it's pretty useful as well is going to be this one. So as you can see here, I'm just querying the lead. I'm just getting the full name and the subject, but additionally, I am expanding one of the fields that we have in that entity. The name of the field is going to be OPT country ID that represent the country. Okay, so that's a field that is a related field for a different entity, for a country entity. And I'm just getting the OPT name for that entity. So as you can see here, probably if we had some field with the name, like for example, this one, uh, I'm just getting the country ID that is the related file, and I'm just getting the name that is United States. Okay, if you don't have country related, it's going to feel like this because you don't have that. But that's the way to extend or to have more access to an additional relation in the query. Okay, so that's some examples of how to do some basic queries. My suggestion is try to understand and try to do many different exercises before at the beginning to understand the structure and to understand how does it work because sometimes it could be tricky. Okay, so then we are going to be reviewing how to create and update operations. Okay, so basically, I'm going to be reviewing the official information, basically because there are specific examples of how to do it. I just want to pass through these examples, and after that, just try to explain you a little bit more about those. So, for example, this one. This website that I could pass you in the chat is going to be a website that is going to be explain you how to use the API. For, at least it's going to be in C chart, and it's going to show you what are the prerequisites that you require. For sure, you require a Visual Studio. Sorry, you require a Visual Studio 2019. Uh, and your internet, your Barley account, and the URL that you are going to be connecting, and of course, you understand the Visual C Sharp language. But basically, it's going to explain you step by step how to do. In this example, it's going to create a console that is going to be like a base application, just to do the exercise and just to do the example of how to use the web API. It's going to tell you that you should use the framework on this version. There's already an additional version. I think that is the 4.7.1 or something like that. Um, so you could use it as well, or you could just follow this one. I used to use this one because the new one sometimes works weird. So I just use this one because I'm pretty sure that works well. So after that, you need to add some NuGet packages so that this page is going to explain you how to do it. Basically, you just need to click in the Solution Explorer and add the NuGet package and add the Active Directory one. And then you require to use the Newtonsoft JSON one. And after that, it's going to show you how to do it. Basically, you are going to create the resource here that is going to be your URL. And after that, you require a client ID and redirect query. So the website is going to explain you, I mean, this page is going to explain you how to do it properly. Um, it's, it looks complex because what it's doing is just generating all the requests for the web API. But at the end, the API is just um, web service request that is going to get that information that is going to be in a JSON object. And after that, as you can see here, you just use the JSON object going directly to the fields that you require. So looks difficult, but believe me, it's not difficult at all. So it's something, and that's why I just recommend you to see this website at the beginning. And as soon as you understand that, probably you could pass to this one that is going to show you a little bit more examples of how to do it. Just to let you know, the connection changed recently, so probably the way of do the connection is going to be pretty difficult, pretty different. But just create a natural app, and that's it. That's the way. So this one is going to be an additional example. This one, and I just included because it has multiple operations, like for example, create, how to create a contact, how to update a contact, how to retrieve a contact that is going to be requiring, how to modify a specific field or something like that, and how to change the property. So there is many different things that are explained here. So I just recommend you to see this structure as well because and it's pretty good documented. So it's going to be a good exercise to review it. And basically those are the examples that I want to share with you because I think there are the basic ones, but are going to be pretty helpful. Okay. So I'm going to be just sharing this on the web on the chat. Let me see if I can do it here. Yep. It was two. Okay, I think that everybody, I guess. So those are the websites that I just recommend you to just review. And then uh, there is going to be some additional documentation that you need to review. I mean, the idea with this webinar is just let you know that you have a web service that is going to have exposed all information that you have in the CRM. Okay. Of course, there is some security things that you have to keep in mind when you are doing a web API connection, and that's why I'm just saying if you're, I mean, okay, let me go back a little bit. Probably you identify here that I just put the URL and it works. I mean, if I take this and I just put that here, it works. But it works because I previously get get login in the CRM, so I'm already authenticated. But if you are not authenticated and you just use the URL, it's not going to work because I mean it's going to have a security layer for sure. So if you want to get that connection using your browser, you need to be authenticated in the CRM at the beginning. But if you want to do a connection using like SDK or some other system, you need to do the connection using the information that I just showed you on those websites. I mean, you need to create an app in Azure. You need to create a secret key. I mean, there is a lot of things that you need to configure. But as soon as you do that, you could just get the connection directly on the server. Okay. So additionally, I'm going to be sharing with you these websites that are the free ones. So this one is going to explain you how to do basic operations like queries, how to do the retrieves, how to limit it, sorry, how to limit the number of rows that you're getting, how to use the top, how to use the max page size. So all the basic things that you need to know in terms of the all data queries are going to be here. Okay, so how to get a specific property. Here you're going to identify how to use the filters, how to use the expand, what are the operators that you could use. So that's the basic thing in terms of the queries. So I'm going to be sharing you with this as well. And and the other one that is important is this one that is going to be some basic operations that you have to know. So those operations and this one is pretty useful as well because it's going to show you how to create things, how to associate, how to delete, how to associate rows, and how to do like the basic operations. And it's going to be pretty good explaining it. So that's something that you need to review as well. Okay, I'm sharing with you these links because I mean I've already read that and um, okay, so you are not seeing the. Okay, someone just told me that it's not. So okay, I don't know why, but I can just send information to the host and the panelists, but I cannot send information to everybody. You know why? The chat is disabled, maybe. Uh, okay, so what we are going to be doing is that I'm going to be sending you. Actually, I could send you the presentation, or I could just send you the the links. But actually, and let me just do this. I'm going to be sending you the links to all the people that attend. Okay. So and as I mentioned, this is like a overview of how the API works because the rest of the things are probably are going to be things that you need to customize or to develop. But in terms of how it works, how is the layer is going to be laid out. So it's going to be it's really simple. If, for example, you just want to see, if you don't want to specify the entity, for example, you could just send a request and the CRM is going to show you all the entities that are available in the API. So if you don't know what's the entity that you want to query, you could just send that URL and after that, for example, just write account or something like that and you could see all the things that are related to the account entity, and you could identify the entity that probably you're going to be using. Okay. So that's a really easy way to do it. Additionally, you could just query on Google what's the API exposed entity. But by default, all the entities that you create in CRM are going to be exposed in the API. So as soon as you create, for example, if you create the country entity, immediately it's going to be exposed in the API. You don't need to do anything else. You just need to create entity, and the entity is going to be exposed directly in the API. Okay. Yes. So, well, basically that's the information. What I'm going to be doing is just share with you the presentation if you want it. That's my email. If you have any question or if you require the links or if you require anything, just let me know. I could just send you that back. And I know that this topic probably is going to be like a small one, but it's really important to understand this topic before pass to the next webinars that we are going to be attending because it has like an additional relations. So that's why I wanted to do this overview first, just to let you know and just to let you understand the basics. And when we pass to another topic, probably it's going to be easier for you. Okay. Thanks everyone for the time. I hope you see you in a next webinar.